every day this week. So if it's your first ResMania, welcome. If it's your second or third, welcome back. I'm Holly Watkins. I'm RVP of Sales here at ResMan. I've been here about 9 years. The growth that we've had is obviously some of you have been with us most of that time, some of you part of that time, some of you new to us. So thank you for coming to ResMania 2024.
Hello.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about Bobby, who's in the front of the room. She's your presenter today. She's one of our amazing trainers at ResMan. She's been at ResMan about 3 years, but she's been in the industry for about 17 years. So she is, her expertise is in the affordable space. But as far, as today, she's going to be talking about the move-out reconciliation process. So she knows all things ResMan, and please give your presenter your attention. If you have questions, please raise your hand or shout out, and I'll try to get to you without falling, and give you the microphone so that everyone can hear the questions in case someone else has the same question. So, if you don't have a handout, please let me know. I'll hand you one real quickly, and I'm going to hand this over to Bobby so we can stay on track here.
All right, guys. Welcome to your third hour of training if you've been here the whole time. If not, welcome anyway. Hopefully you guys have your apples and your candy because we all need a well-balanced diet, right? I haven't made it into the hallway to get a treat, but somebody brought me one, so I'll eat it later. So we're going to take a look at optimizing the move-out reconciliation process for fairness and accuracy. So move-out reconciliation, ResMan calls an MOR. Anyone in the affordable world, just kind of wipe from your mind what MOR might mean to you, and we're going to focus on move-out reconciliations today. So the move-out reconciliation is the function taken in the database to dispose of security deposits, pet deposits, ledger credits, and charge for events that occurred or were on the ledger at the time of move-out. Okay? So I asked, when people told me that they don't revise their MORs, I didn't know where they worked because I've never been able to just do one and be done. I've always got to revise it. So I think this is pretty common for affordable properties possibly. But for anyone who's never had to revise one, there are processes and steps that you can take to get yourself into the right position to make those changes. Okay? So that's me. My name is Bobby ResMan here at ResMan. I'm a training specialist. And here's the URL to my training database with the username and password. If there is anyone who has yet to obtain that information, let me know. I'll stay on this screen for a little bit so you can log in. This allows you into a sandbox database where you can click all the buttons and do all the things, and it is okay. We clean it up later, so you can make all the mistakes and all the oopsies that you're never, ever, ever, ever going to do in your live database, right? All right. So this is going to give you access to that. Anybody need a little bit of time on this screen? Okay, go ahead. I'll leave it on there. All right. How many people have been to 3 already? 3? Woo! Yeah. I haven't even had caffeine today, guys. I don't know how this is happening. And I came in last night from a different time zone, so I got up at like 3 o'clock for my body today. So I'm doing good. We're doing good. Catch me in like 3 hours. I might not be all right, but I'm doing good. Did you get it?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Here we go. So we're going to take a look at the types of move-out reconciliations and revisions, and there are 4. We're going to say someone leaves our property with a balance due, and then we revise it to a higher balance due, right? We find some issues. They move out, they have a balance due, we revise it, and it results in them needing to get a refund from us. Some of us in the house know about this. They move out and they're owed a refund, and then we revise it and they're owed a larger refund. Or they move out, a refund was owed, but now unfortunately they owe us. That's probably the least happy resident we're going to deal with today. Okay? So types of move-out reconciliations. So essentially we're looking at this as if though we've already done it once. So if everybody doesn't know, the move-out reconciliation hyperlink stays live, and you can do it as many times as you need to. After you've done it once, there's a check mark that presents itself to show it's been done once. Every time that it's done, the newest response, the newest information goes into the final accounting statement, which is available in the ledger under the reports drop-down arrow, and it will be the most current. Ladies, we have 2 right up here in the front and 1 here at the end. I don't know how many are in your party. So this gives you the ability to always have the most recent version for printing and providing to your former resident. Bless you. Okay? So, we've talked about all the different things, essentially, that we're going to look at today. But keep in mind, we're looking at this from the perspective of having done it once already. Yes, that's available. Do you need a handout?
Yes.
Holly? Thank you. How many do we need? 2 over here, 3 handouts, 4. Thank you so much, Kristen. Thank you. All right, so we're going to look at someone who has a balance owed. Additional charges were discovered for all those things that we didn't see at the initial move out. Now they have a bigger debt owed, right? Then someone moves out, we charge them, but now we need to remove those charges because there was an error. And this could result in a wash. I don't know how many people here have ever had a resident move out at 0. Like, what are the odds? That doesn't happen, really. It's very uncommon, right? Or the resident's receiving a refund. Then the resident gets a refund that grows larger, or they get their refund taken away. We don't want that one. There are some available chairs up here in the front if you guys would like, but I don't know if you'll be able to sit together. I'm not sure. Does anybody have 2 empty seats next to them? Or possibly? Right here. Right here, ladies. Thank you so much, sir. All right. So we're going to talk about this one first. They move out owing you money, and then they owe you more. Okay? We're going to revise this one. So we've already done the move out reconciliation once, and you had the option to post it to ledger, which then the balance populated on the residence ledger. Okay? So for anyone who doesn't know, when you do move out reconciliation, you have 3 choices. Post to ledger, and the balance just sits there. Post to ledger and write it off. Or my most favorite one, which is the third one. Post it to ledger, write it off to 0, and create an in-house ResMan collections account. That's the one I usually train on in trainings. Today we're just focusing on the function. Okay? So in this example, the post to ledger option was selected. So there's a wrong button. So sorry, guys. There is a collection right here. That's not correct. They use the third function. Okay. So it does say, in this example, see, I'm smarter than I look. The post to ledger function and write off balance and create collection accounts was used for $350. So now the ledger is 0, and there's a collection account. For anyone who does not know, there is a collections account boardroom module. In the very first section, it'll say pending. Those are people that left your properties owing you money, and no one has done anything about it. They might have done this, but they didn't enter into a repayment agreement. Once an in-house repayment agreement is actually entered into, the details are put into this area here by clicking here and entering the agreement. So $100 a month, $300 a month. When that happens on the boardroom module collection accounts, they'll fall into in-house. If you are sending them to third party, you can integrate it, or you can just wipe the account and do it outside of ResMan. Okay, if you integrate it, there's a third section. It'll say third-party collections. So if anybody goes to their boardroom module collection accounts with any pendings, there's work to be done. You're not done here, okay? So in this example, we've done the collection account. So if there was a balance due on the ledger, and you used the post to ledger option on the initial move-out reconciliation, which means they just got hit on the ledger, nothing was done, then those charges will be listed in the outstanding charges section. So when we go into ResMan the second time, any default charges in our administrative settings are going to come back again. ResMan is not going to recognize that it was already done the first time. Additionally, any ledger balance is going to show in the outstanding charges area. Okay? Remove the default charges, because we're not going to charge them the default amounts again. And then add any new charges as needed. If deposits or ledger credits were applied during the first move-out reconciliation, you will not see them here. Okay? We're going to talk about that in a moment. So choose the appropriate action. Post a ledger, letting it sit there. Post a ledger, write it off to 0. or post a ledger, write it off to zero, and create an in-house collections account, okay? So now that I've taken action a second time, that collections account will grow. So now my collections went from $550 to $800. So let's say the resident moved out, I'm just gonna make an example, May 24th, and they owed something, and you did the move out reconciliation, and they owed the $550, and then you turn the unit and you find that secret hole behind the mirror that they use to pass things to the other department. So you have to charge them another $250 for a wall patch. This is how you do it. So having said that, you need to have a standard operating procedure with your former residents so that they have an understanding of your processes and what your expectations of them are and what they can expect from you. An example I can give that I've seen at site is that on the day of or within 24 hours of move out, you give them a move out reconciliation final accounting statement that says this is where we're standing right now. We're gonna turn this unit in the next, 4 days because we're superheroes. And then I'm gonna have a final statement for you. So come up with something in-house, but you can use the function as many times as you want. It's your policies to set and establish, but that helps them understand that this is just where we're sitting today. We gotta get in and do our work, okay? So with that being said, Antonio now owes us $800 because of this additional thing we found. What if someone moved out and you were charging them, then you finalize everything, and now they need a refund, okay? So I can't think of a really very feasible example, but let's say you walked to the unit and you decided it needed a cleaning and a carpet cleaning. And then the former resident's like, well, wait a minute, I had the carpets professionally cleaned. And I'm like, well, where's the receipt then? They then show up with a receipt. Legitimately, who knows, but you take the receipt, right? So then you might potentially be owing them a refund because per the lease, a receipt from a professional business constitutes a clean carpet, right? So that's the best example I can think of. So the first move-out reconciliation function resulted in a debt owed, and it was $584.68, and we used the post to ledger write-off balance create collections account option and created a collection account. Then we removed charges. Okay, so we had to go in and revise the situation. And if the balance is sitting on the resident ledger, then you're going to move to the next step. If both balances are zero, you're going to move to the next step. But if the balance is in that collection ledger, post charges in the collection area to move the charges back to the resident ledger. So for anyone who doesn't know how the collection ledger works, ResMan takes the debt into another section, clearing the delinquencies from your ledger. Then every action after that will be done in the collections account. You will not do transactions anywhere else. You go to the collection account using the hyperlink that is sitting right, not there, right there. You're going to use that hyperlink. There's going to be a post charges and a post payment function. What this is saying is because we're going to be giving money back, we're going to go into that collections ledger and click post charges and move the charges back to the resident ledger, okay? Then we're going to go to the ledger and reverse the security deposit applied transaction event. Again, please understand these are permission-based actions. If your user identity or user group does not allow you to reverse ledgers, you'll need to speak to someone about your permissions or find someone who does have that permission, okay? So then you're going to reverse the security deposit applied transaction and reverse charges that should be removed, meaning the carpet cleaning, right? So we're going to go in, post back, reverse the security deposit being applied, and reverse the carpet cleaning charge in this example. Edit any charge that needs to be changed. So let's say the charge still applies and it's less. So maybe we charged them a lot for something and it ended up being less. Maybe we didn't have the vendor's correct information. Who knows what the reason is? But we can just edit instead of reverse and correct the amount charged, okay? So at this point, does anybody have any questions regarding The use of the move out reconciliation hyperlink in the left workflow of a resident, former resident's account page that results in a final accounting statement available in the ledger module using the drop down area to get to the reports, and the fact that you can run it as many times as you need to, and this is called a revision. Do we have any questions about that aspect? Yes, sir.
What if in the collections area you just make the change? What happens?
So I know you can do some edits in that area, but it does not feed backwards.
Repeat the question since I.
Oh, I'm so sorry. His question is, what if I go into the collections account and edit the actions there? It will not feed backwards onto the ledger. You're just editing that record.
So you're gonna have a problem later.
You're gonna have a problem later on, that is correct. Yes, very good question. Anybody else? Okay. So in this event, please remember you're gonna post back from within the collections account, reverse the application of the security deposit, edit the charges, or reverse the charges, okay? The balance will change every time that you complete an action. And you're going to then, why do I feel like I already talked about this? Balance due and easy refund, here we go. Reprocess the MOR to add in everything needed and remove everything not needed. So it is a little bit of a dance, right? You do what you need to do to get it back to where it was, then you make it correct, reprocess the MOR, and then give them the new final accounting revised statement, okay? Any questions regarding that? Yes?
When you choose that third category on the move out reconciliation page, how does that post to your P&L?
So with that, I don't have exact details, but I've had a question. She wants to know how the third category where you create the in-house collection account hits your profit and loss. So when you remove those charges, they kind of sit on the bench, right? ResMan sort of does this. When you click post charge, ResMan uses your allocation weighted system in your settings for charges and payments and puts back the items that are weighted the highest to put the payment to. So I believe the correct answer to this, and I'm not an accountant here, is that it affects it as you take payment, post back charge, post payment. It'll be in that month's financials for whatever it was before. Prior to that, it sits as a write-off. Okay, if anybody has additional information they want to provide or they're aware of, okay. I have confirmation. All right, excellent. Any other questions? Go ahead.
So when you use the collection, so you're posting a payment to the ledger, right? Let's say you have a payment plan with a resident, right? You agree they're gonna pay you.
Yes.
They don't pay you back, right? So you have to send that, like, you send it back to the collections, it creates a new write-off.
So
Is there a way that it doesn't create a new write-off?
So with that, that's a really good question. When you create that in-house collection account and it moves into the collection account, the question is, they don't pay. They don't comply. In that collection account, there is a function to send them to collections, right? So you're saying it's creating two write-offs? That's a really good question. I don't have an answer to that one. It shouldn't be duplicating, and you're seeing this happening?
So think you have a resident, it's 2 separate months, right? So a resident
Yes,
moves
because
out
it's a
in
new
March.
period, yeah.
So you go ahead and you create a collections ledger, you agree that they're gonna pay half of their balance the next month.
Yes.
So the system will automatically post it as of the first of the month, right?
Yes.
Then the resident doesn't pay by the 10th.
You have to
So
write it off.
you clear it out again and you do the move out reconciliation again and it creates a write-off again.
Oh my gosh, okay. I'm gonna take that question to somebody higher than me. Because my thought would be that you would just reverse out the charge that you posted, recurring charge that posted back, like reverse it. And then just send the account to collections from the collections. I've never ran it through the process all the way, it still does it.
But because the amount in the collections balance is less, because it
Yes,
moves it to the ledger.
exactly.
So you're technically, you don't wanna just move it to collections.
Yeah.
It's-
Now it's inaccurate.
Correct.
Boy, oh boy, because you would have to do the move out reconciliation again to get it accurate, okay. I will definitely have to dig into that further, because I've never ran it through in a practical sense. Alright, so, Has anybody else here ever had to send something to collections after entering a repayment agreement in ResMan? And because they didn't comply? Right here? And are you having the exact same scenario happen? Okay. So then we definitely need to address this on a different level. Okay, I will find answers for you. I'm gonna put that in my brain right here.
And you
because-
might go by the Roy Bar and ask them to walk you through that process, and then you might get some answers you need.
Yeah. So someone more like maybe, I don't know who's in the Roy Boy right now, but just say what your question, like stand in the middle of the room and be like, I have a question, and then whoever knows the answer, they're gonna jump up, right?
You can go to the resident kiosk and one of the SEs will be there.
Yes, excellent. All right, perfect, guys. So that is a fantastic question. I'm sorry that I don't have a perfect answer for you right this moment, okay? So when we save the information, the deposit applied and the refund transactions will then go on to the ledger, listed as a pending refund for the accounting team to then cut a check for, right? Additionally, if anybody doesn't know, your accounts payable ledger module also houses any refunds owed for former residents or canceled applicants who are owed a refund of a whole unit deposit, etc. And also in settings, you have the ability to establish a requirement that a final accounting statement resulting in zero or refund must be approved. And if you use that function, then when they're in the accounts payable summary module, make sure that they're only toggling to see the approved refunds, because if you do a preliminary move-out reconciliation that does have a refund owed, and then 5 days later realize it's not a refund and accounting was on it, they might have already cut the check. Okay, so come up with an in-house operating procedure, but there are settings in place for those exact events, all right? So, let's say a refund was owed and now they need more money back. These people are gonna love you forever and always, right? So, they had a move-out reconciliation completed and a refund was owed to them. And the total in this example is $297.58 between the ledger credit and the security deposit of $100. So we know in today's examples, everyone has already had their move-out reconciliation done. This is the revision, okay? So then we're gonna go in and we're gonna see a theme here. We're gonna edit or reverse all the transactions needed in order to get us to the place we need to be. If you're new to doing move-out reconciliation revisions, they're saying right here that you might want to do what we call walk it back and just start reversing transactions from most currently backwards until you get to the area where you can start fresh to include any applied deposits and refund line items, okay? If a refund check, we just talked about this, for the initial has already been issued, you cannot do anything on the ledger with that refund unless you void the check. So, I mean, if they've already cashed it, you're not gonna be able to do this. You're just gonna have to do another move-out reconciliation with another refund check. But if you have yet to do this, then we can take this action. Keeping in mind again, that if you have that setting for approvals for zeros or refunds, that will really help this process, okay? So add any additional charges as needed, but they must be less than the amount of the credit sitting on the ledger. Refund line items were not reversed in the previous step. So for our example, there was no reversal. Deposits and overpayments are applied and the refund amount automatically populates. So starting back, we go back into the move-out reconciliation hyperlink in the left workflow. And remember, we are not going to recharge any charges that were already done. We're reversing things out, cleaning it up, and starting fresh. Then once saved, the new refund transaction appears on the ledger, listing as a pending refund for the accounting team in the accounts payable summary module. And then once it's approved under accounts residents on the green submenu, then they can pay it, okay? So for anyone who doesn't know, that is a setting. And then it will be on the accounts payable summary module, approved or unapproved, and they need to make sure they're only looking at approved, okay? So now they're getting a payment refund. With someone who had a refund owed to them at first, and then you found something, and now they're gonna owe you money, good luck, okay? Because they're not gonna pay you. So you do your move-out reconciliation, and they're like, yay, I get $415, right? They're due a total based on their ledger credits and their deposits. So again, there's the green check mark that lets us know the move-out reconciliation has been done at least once, okay? So, in the resident ledger, reverse the security deposit refund, payment refund. But again, if the check has already been issued and cashed, you're just gonna have to do another MOR. If it's been cut and not cashed and you haven't mailed it, right, it's sitting somewhere, then you can just void it out, right? So then you're gonna reverse any applications of deposits, reverse any charges as needed. So in this example, they remove the damage charge. And then if the charge stays, but the amount is different, just use the edit function, okay? Ensure your ledger balance is correct, and then reprocess the move-out reconciliation using the hyperlink. So if there was a balance due on the ledger, those charges will be listed in the outstanding charges area. Where is it? And so I think it's called current balance, guys, I'm gonna be honest. That would be anything sitting on the ledger, and then any new charges, and then remove the default charges. Any deposits and overpayments will come in here automatically. Choose your action here, hit save, and once saved, the ledger now shows a collection debt, and they're probably not gonna sign it. Let's just be honest, right? So maybe not even take it to collections. Let's just go to a third party. But no, follow your company policy. What you're gonna do from here for the repayment agreement, remembering that even with the collection account here, if they do not have an agreement on record, they will sit as pending under the collection accounts on the boardroom modules, okay? Nothing has been recorded as an agreement. You're saying they owe it, they're not quite agreeing to it yet, okay? They have to sign an agreement. So when in doubt, walk it all the way back. Right? So this comes from our support team, guys, just so you know. So when it gets to that point, walk it all the way back as far as you can go. Keeping track, I would highly recommend taking screenshots or printing out your ledger reports as you are processing these backward movements to get to the point you need to be at to complete the revision for this move-out reconciliation. Security deposits and payment refunds and deposits applied, as well as charges, are the things you're going to be messing with to either reverse or edit them to get to the correct balance for what actually did happen, okay? How often does this happen to you guys that you actually do need to go in and do revisions? Does anybody have this happen a lot? Okay. So, we are at the point where we can discuss all things when it comes to the reversals, the edits, the revisions, the boardroom modules associated to this. We have a question. Yes.
Something you said a couple of slides ago, I
Okay.
heard you mention tax. So when we process a refund, there's something I think you mentioned in the system that can be checked that says either we approved it or it's not approved.
Correct.
And the county gets that.
So it's on the boardroom module. So the question is, when it comes to the approval of move-out reconciliations, you kind of wanted to know how that goes through. In the administrative settings in ResMan under admin, you can establish a setting and you have two choices. Move-out reconciliations resulting in zero or money owed back, or move-out reconciliations where you get money. So you have two buttons. You can make them both required to be approved in settings. Once you do that and you do a move-out reconciliation that falls into those parameters, when they go to the accounts payable summary boardroom module, the accounting department needs to make sure they're only toggling the approved list. It comes defaulted with everything. They will uncheck unapproved and only look at the approved. When you're ready to review those move-out reconciliations for accuracy, you go to Accounts Residents, and then it says Move-Out Rec in the green submenu. When you click the green submenu list, it will show you all the move-out reconciliations that require review and approval. Once they're pushed through, they will fall into the accounts payable summary module under the approved list, and now accounting knows it's okay to cut payment.
One more question.
Yes.
Address that. So if we have that set up to where that approval process is there, accounting does that, or the admin person sets it up, who's approving it?
So that's the thing, as long as it's in their permission group, they can approve it. It's not an established person. Everything is permission driven in ResMan and settings driven. So you go to users groups, open up your permissions, expand all, Control F, this is how I would like. And then search, move out reconciliations, and make sure the proper groups have permission to approve move out reconciliations.
So they can set that with
For the group, yes, for the group.
Is that in group permissions or is it
It's,
in
it, it's in group permissions. It should be. So go to admin groups, try manager, and expand all, and then control F, there's a lot of permissions. And there's gonna be a permission in there regarding the approval of move out reconciliations. You don't see it? Let me see. Move out reconciliations and workflows.